Hello, everyone. Today is May the 12th, 2025, and I am Red We Met. A little allergic today, but I'm getting along. How you doing, Dave? Dave Grippy's here. Good to see you, guy. So today, as I was going through things, I was listening to all the different stories. And I thought I wasn't there to actually see it happen, but I was with the people that were there. So I have my own personal account rather than something that's been written in a newspaper or, picked up from folklore and guessed upon. But my subject is Ray Ryan. My information comes from Marshall Caifano. And he was arrested in 1964 for extorting Ray Ryan. And according to articles, it says that I think it was $60,000 or something like that he was supposed to get from him. Some of the money went to Nick the Greek, and some of the money went to him for actually going out and doing the work and collecting it. He thought he was convinced that he got cheated. Nick was convinced that he got cheated by Ryan. Whether he was or wasn't, we'll never really know. It's just the way it was. But Ryan was quite wealthy. Ray Ryan was a very wealthy man. Aside from having a nice home in Palm Springs and hobnobbing with the Hollywood people, he was wealthy. He had a safari club that he was partners in with William Holden and other movie stars, and just extremely a wealthy guy and a playboy. Liked to play golf, liked to play cards. He was a gambler. He also was a wildcatter when it came to oil. While all the people were out in Texas and Oklahoma and drilling their oil wells, he found something new. He found oil in southern Illinois and southern Indiana. And he bought the oil leases up on them real cheap. And he put in these shallow wells. They weren't very deep. And they just ran themselves all the time. And the last time I drove through I-65 going up to Chicago, I still saw those wells. They're still going today, although he's gone. And I don't know who buys the oil anymore. But that's where he got his money, evidently. Big money. But like I said, he was a big gambler, and he liked to do what he did. So after he was extorted, Johnny Delmonico and Marshall Caifano went to prison. They had a trial, and they were both found guilty. And they had to do 10 years in prison. From what I was told by Johnny Rodgers, who was his cellmate that got out, that was Marshall's cellmate, who got out of prison with him, or shortly after him. Marshall hired a lawyer to get him out. He was constantly obsessed with Ray Ryan. Constantly obsessed with him. Now, when I talked to him, he was obsessed with Ray Ryan also, but I didn't know exactly who Ray Ryan was then. I didn't know anything about him. That was in 1974. He spent a decade in prison, or better. Might have been a couple months more. But the bottom line was he wanted Ray Ryan dead. At that time, several people, Joey Lombardo, had suggested to him that they collect the money from Ryan and just kill him anyway. And it got to the point where he didn't want the money anymore. He just wanted him dead. One of the things he used to say was, every time that guy breathes, he's breathing my air. It's my air that he's breathing. So he was a little disturbed about it. Sometime in 1976, I was repairing my garage at 4121 Richmond, and I tore down the whole alley part of the garage and put up a new frame. It was an old wooden garage, and put up a frame and put up some new stringers going across the garage so I didn't have to have a post in the middle. And then I put on an 18-foot brand new door made out of metal, which weren't very popular in those days. Metal doors were not like now. They have a lot of metal doors. But it was the only one in my whole alley going all the way down the street. So I put this thing up, and while I was at it, I went over to Sears. I was in Chicago, like I said, at 4121 Richmond. And I went over to Sears, and I picked up a Genie remote control garage door opener so I could open the door. And several times they came by. Marshall and Rodgers came by. Marshall and Johnny. They came by, and they asked me how many volts my remote control was. And I said, I think it's set for 18. And Rodgers had a blasting cap. And he took it and did something with it. And had it set off to the side. And he took my remote control. I think he put it on the sending unit and took my remote control unit, and he pushed the button and the cap blew. Now, that was only 12 volts off a car battery, but the cap blew anyway. So I think they experimented more with it someplace else. But when you see the crash site on the thumbnail of this picture, you'll see that they used more dynamite than they needed. That is the wreckage. That's a real shot of the wreckage. And Ray Ryan got into his car. This was in 1977, I believe. I think it was in 77. Might be wrong on the date. But Ray Ryan got into his car. He was at a health club. And after he got in the car, it blew. Now, it blew so bad that really ATF and some of the police department, the people who were there, they couldn't tell exactly. There were 4 or 5 different stories that came out. They didn't know if it was an ignition bomb, if it was a pressure release bomb. They didn't know what it was. One person out of all of them said it might have been a remote control device. Well, if it's a remote control device and the door was opening, this wouldn't have been like anything that law enforcement had seen before, because somebody would have been laying there watching in a car from a distance. And when he came out and climbed into his vehicle and started to leave, that's when they pushed the button on the remote control unit, which is not, I mean, you can get pretty good distance with them, about a block away. I do anyway. I used to then. So that's what I was told actually happened to him. Now, worse than that, the part that I'm getting a kick out of with newspapers is people go back and they look at these things and they say, these old news articles, and They missed the one part. At the inquest of Ray Ryan, Johnny Rodgers testified that Marshall Caifano did order it done. The federal government had him in witness protection program at the time. And so he cooperated with local authorities just for the inquest. There was no trial. They didn't indict Marshall. I'm going to check this out right now. I want to make sure the date. Yes, it was in 1977. That was Ray Ryan. He was described as a professional gambler. He died October 18th, 1977 in Evansville, Indiana. And that's the picture you see on the thumbnail. There's been all kinds of stories written about it. Assassination of an Indiana millionaire. Nooks and cranny history. Everybody's taken a piece of it. But nobody has taken a piece of it that really knew any of the people involved. And they make guesses. Mine are not guesses. But Rodgers did testify. And somewhere in one of the stories in one of the newspapers, it mentions him. And it mentions actually the deal that Marshall made. Marshall was, he just wanted more money, more power. He was an old man. And he spent probably the better years of his life in prison, which really hurt him. So he wanted money. He wanted to live well. And the only way to do that is, he wasn't going to go back and rob grocery stores, I'll tell you that much. So he had Rodgers with him. And Rodgers got out of hand. Rodgers got into dope. And he was a big arsonist. He was into arson. I mean, he was a firebug. He's also a bomber. But at any rate, that's what happened, folks. That's basically what happened. So about time I say hi to some of you folks. How you doing, Scott? Scott H. Jim Nagdafici, how you doing? Pew Villages. Hi, Red. How you doing? Bambi, how you doing? Bambi saying hi to all the guests. Mickey Griggs saying hi back. How you doing, Mickey? BSJ, how you doing? There is a lot of people that they don't understand how Marshall was. Bambi's leaving me a message here. Sorry, I haven't emailed you yet. I've been so busy. Okay, Bambi. I watched your videos that came up. They're different. He was, when I wrote about him in my book, I wrote about him as a quiet man. He spoke like Peter Lorre. And a lot of you people are too young. You don't even understand who Peter Lorre was. But he spoke in a very soft-spoken voice. And he was a dapper man. He liked his custom shirts. He liked his custom trousers. Yes, Peter Lorre, the old actor. That's the one I'm talking about. Not many people remember who he is. Hi, Scott. All good here. It rained all day on the Space Coast. We need some rain. Good. Rained here. I don't know. It's part of that hurricane. I don't know where it's at, though. Dave, I knew a son-in-law of Ray Ryan. He had nothing good to say about him. Ray Ryan wasn't really that well liked. Okay, you call it creepy. I call it distinctive. I mean, he just had a very different voice. He played creepy parts, um, but he had a very distinctive voice. And Marshall sounded just like him. I swear it. Anyway, when Marshall wanted all these things to happen for him, uh, one of the things he wanted to do when he first got out was go kill Ray Ryan. And Joey Lombardo told him, no way. No way are you going to do that. It's not going to happen. Not going to get the okay. And then he set up Richard Kane for that murder. And in favor, he was given permission to murder Ryan. And that's the way it went. I didn't know it at the time, but several people have confirmed it, that he had a direct contact with Tony Accardo. He could go directly to Tony Accardo when he wanted to. Before that, he used to go directly to Sam Giancana. They were like that. They were very close. So he was a powerhouse and probably not well talked about. Not too many people know about him. He's just a name. To me, he was more than a name. He was somebody that I did business with and somebody that I was never really afraid of him. And other people told me to be afraid of him. He was one of those kind of persons that if he wanted to kill you, he just would have. That's just the way it worked. Rico, hello, everyone. Red and everyone. Watch party from Kansas City, Missouri. Okay. Thank you for stopping by, Rico. On my channel, Bambi, I have a whole story about my interaction with Sam DiStefano. Sammy D, we called him Sammy D. And I didn't call him DiStefano. I didn't call the names the way they're talking about now. Back in the old days, we called him Sammy D. Sammy DiStefano. And that's what we called him. But he was, I'd say, legally insane. I mean, I think I'm the only living person that ever came out of his basement alive. I went down to his basement with somebody else that he wanted to kill, and he didn't. It's crazy. You're welcome, Rico. So, what did anybody, how did you people looked at the thumbnail before you came online? What'd you think of the wreckage? What'd you think of the damage to the vehicle? Hi, Lisa B. How you doing? Well, only one that we know of, Jim. You talk about Sammy D. Sammy D. Pissed on people's coffee. No, in people's coffee. He said that was the special brew for Bill Romer. He put it in his. They caught it on a wiretap when he was talking about it later, and Bill Romer never came by and got coffee again. That's the way it was. So, yeah, he was a bad guy. Yes, you're right, but he's not alive. I think I'm the only one alive, is what I said. Sam went down there, or Frank Collado went down there several times, I believe, because one time he talks about they're going down with Tony, and Tony used to take people down there and they didn't come back alive. Fat finger typo. That happens. Tim Peroni, sorry you got here late. No big deal, Tim. No big deal. So I take it that nobody really looked at the thumbnail. on this video about the leftovers of the automobile. That was a beautiful car. It just went gone. I think there were stories that it did damage as many as 5 blocks away to windows and other things. Parts of that car were found 2 or 3 addresses away. There was nothing left, no glass, no anything. Not to mention Ray Ryan. Ray Ryan was gone. I mean, believe it or not, I don't think there was a fire. It looks melted, BSJ. I don't think there was a fire. I think it just exploded and that was it. But there wasn't much left of it. Yes, he was. I believe he was there when it happened. I saw the car was flattened. Yes, I've never seen. You see damage that look like Lefty Rosenthal. It was supposed to be a bomb in his car, right? He got out alive, and he was just burned, and the car was okay. I mean, the car got burned up, but they took it away in a big piece. That was not exactly what happened here. That was when they blew it to smithereens, man. There's nothing left. Marshall's payback. He waited a long time to do that. A long time. He finally did it. Bambi, was he really connected as the FBI tried to say? Marshall? Yeah. He was sent out to Las Vegas to watch he was like the manager out there to watch everything and watch the skim. And what happened was when he was out there, he got in trouble, but the man that sent him out there was Sam Giancana, and he was having an affair. Sam Giancana was having an affair with Marshall's wife, Darlene. And so Sam figured, oh, okay, I'm out of town. He's going to be playing with my wife. When I come back, I got it made. Well, he went to prison. And when he got out of prison, in between that time, Sam Giancana had gone to Mexico, come back, and everything else. That all happened when he was in prison. And he thought he had it made, and he didn't have it made because he went to Sam and said, hey, I want my old territory back. And Sam says, don't talk to me. I'm not doing anything. I'm stuck in my house. I'm staying here. I can't leave. I can't go anywhere. And Sam was ill too. He had some problems. But he went to Tony Accardo and talked to Tony Accardo, and Tony said, almost like Jimmy Couture told me, he said, go see Joey. He's a good boy. He'll take care of you. He goes and see Joey Lombardo, and Joey Lombardo says, okay, you can advise me. You're an old timer. You know the ways. You can advise me. And he kept him on as an advisor. I don't know what the FBI said about him, Bambi, but he was bad. I mean, he was a very dangerous man. Very, very dangerous. Connected all the way back to Palermo, Sicily. Jim Nandafici, was it C4 or regular dynamite? I'm not really sure. I know that Johnny Rodgers had some plastique that he was playing with at the time. It could have been that. It could have been dynamite. I'll check with you. I'll check for you, rather. Well, on here, it says something very different. It says, it says that he turned the key and the bomb went off. And there's a plaque up there about it. But that isn't really what happened. Bomb exploded in Ryan's car, killing him. Car blast kills Ryan on October 18th, 1987, Evansville Press. The mob violent encounter because one person, Ray Ryan, was I'm reading you what it says in the paper, Evansville, Indiana paper. Because one person, Ray Ryan, ran the whole oil man and his wealth of oil. One day, a bomb exploded inside his car, killing him instantly, and his murder occurred outside the health club. Occurred outside the health club at gives the address. Okay, they took a picture of the health club. Murder was never solved. Nobody ever went to court. Ryan was originally from Wisconsin, Watertown, coming from Evansville, Indiana, in the 1930s. He was a local celebrity. He had such friends as William Holden, John Wayne. He had a home in Palm Springs, Mount Kenya Safari Club in East Africa. He had a lot of things. I'm trying to get down to what he used. He had two major court cases, 1964. That was Marshall Caifano. 1970 because his involvement in contact with illegal underworld and time in prison. He testified before the U.S. Justice Department, Las Vegas. A car blast kills Ryan in 1977. Johnny Roselli, a fellow mobster, they talk about him. It doesn't really say if it was dynamite or what it was. It does say it was in the car, though. So that's a little bit different than other accounts. A lot different. I'm going to ask a question. How about was? Well, it says here, for 2 years. It's never been officially solved. There's no mention of what type of explosives. That was the Lincoln Continental Mark V. Same car that Marshall Caifano drove. Marshall liked Lincoln. He liked coupes. Screams of a first-hand accounting is the screams of the bombing shocked witnesses melted with wails of approaching sirens. Dramatic. A lot of drama. Police determined someone jammed a car bomb into the Lincoln's belly, and the term gangland-style killing fashioned through the media. It was fueled by stories that it was a mob hit and revenge, but never solved. There sure wasn't much of it left, I'll tell you that much. In 1964, Ray Ryan served as a key federal witness in an extortion case against some of mob figures. Sitting U.S. Court in Los Angeles, Ryan accused Marshall Caifano and Charles Delmonico of trying to extort $60,000 a year from over illegal gambling debt. Third defendant testified, Alan Smythe, who witnessed the assassination of Bugsy Siegels, for God's sake, was acquitted later. An arrangement at the Desert Inn in May 1963 was allegedly after argument at the Desert Inn in 1963. The gangsters allegedly tried to force Ryan into a car. That's true. Marshall told me about putting him in between him and Johnny Delmonico. Caifano reportedly said, "I know you know a lot of important people like Bobby Kennedy. We'll take care of that too." I don't know if this is true or not. They say it is. It's in the newspaper. He ducked behind a bellboy's luggage rack to shield himself from hypothetical bullets being sprinted through the hallway. And he said, "Go ahead, shoot me in the back." That's the way you people do business. He was making a scene, and he got away. And that's how they got Ray Ryan, or excuse me, Marshall Caifano and Johnny Delmonico got indicted because he did make a scene. It was bad, very bad. Years later, for a cellmate of Caifano's accused him of killing directly. According to a 1982 Chicago Sun-Times story, testimony from a federal trial 2 years later, the cellmate of Caifano said he was obsessed with Ryan and deeply resented the oil man for snitching on him in 1964. He testified that Caifano, whose name was Johnny Marshall, carried out the killing with an accomplice. Caifano would reportedly unleash jailhouse guys, I don't know what this means. SOLILOQUIES about how he planned to get even. Must be stories, because he did talk about it to everybody. He even asked the cellmate to follow Ryan around once they got out of jail. And really, the cellmate he's referring to is Johnny Rodgers. Police ultimately believe that Caifano received the go-ahead from Chicago to plant the bomb under Ryan's Lincoln and at Evansville, Indiana forever. He was never charged in the killing. When he died in 2003, the obituary called him a fond grandfather. So that's the story from the Courier, Evansville, Indiana Courier. That's what they say. So there was something else. I have one or two, but they don't even want to talk about old history like this. Why, Scott? Mr. Hoffman, one of my many classmates, mortuary school, was a retired Illinois state trooper. He was on the call for the Cagnoni. Yeah, that Cagnoni bomb, that was like a relay too. He said a CB transmitter was used for that one. I don't know if it wasn't a CB transmitter. It was a remote control that you used to the garage. It was on a CB signal, and that's what happened. $30 watching. Oh my goodness. 20 likes. Okay, come on, people. Am I that bad? Correctional officer for lockdown. Salute. Salute to you. How you doing, Jeff? Good to see you, guy. Dave, Ryan was being extorted by Caifano. It was 60,000 a year. Later on, I was told that he wanted $1 million a year. That's what Marshall told me. He said for $1 million a year, I wouldn't even let him live. That was after he got out of prison. I suppose 10 years in prison can kind of make you. They never look at it like they deserved it. Nobody ever went to prison and said, I deserve this. I'm going to do my time. They all think, it was a little bit harsh or too harsh. Ray Ryan was being extorted, and Caifano thought he was the aggressive one. Mobster mentality. I think he had definitely had mobster mentality. It was a different story, different time, different people. Now, I know I'm complaining. I'm a cranky old man, folks. I was every time I see one of these stories on YouTube, and they're using AI. It gives you a word salad of descriptions that are very flowery and very little facts. And I apologize to you because I really don't know whether it was dynamite or if it was plastic explosives. I really don't know. From the looks of things, it really doesn't matter. I mean, there really wasn't much left. And there wasn't anything. They had a memorial service for Ray Ryan. There wasn't anything left of him. There wasn't like there was pieces of him on the dashboard or an arm or a leg or a foot or anything. There was nothing left. Nothing. So at the time I was told that it was a problem because to identify him was very difficult, extremely difficult. Red, would you like a real prayer card from Caifano's wake? I have some extras. No, not really. I could have gone there for his wake. I didn't. I know they're members of his family. He has a nephew alive who's an attorney, Richard Caifano. He's still alive, I believe. He's Rocky's son. There was also another brother, Fat Lenny, his brother. His mom lived to be older too. But thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's not one of the things that he wasn't really a good friend. He was a bad person. He just treated me okay. I have no complaints about the way he treated me. Chris, how you doing? Good afternoon, Red. I hope that you're having a good day. Not bad. Blue skies, a little puffy cloud out there, but generally speaking, not bad. Very comfortable. And we have Chain Weaver. I'm late, but I'm here. It's good to be here. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Kirby W. Hi, Red from Antioch. Okay. Antioch, Illinois. Mr. Hoffman, I was at the funeral home where he was waked, Montclair. Yes, I was told now by people that were also there that he had a very small coffin, and the coffin was used for children, really. It was a child's coffin. Mr. Hoffman, would you care to comment about that? He was a very small man. He was only 5 feet. He might have been less when he died. He may have shrunk a lot. We all do. I'm shrinking now. Jim Magnifici got 85 here in Northern Illinois. I'll bet you're happy, guy. Good going. Tim Hunt. Hello, gang. I'm late. Okay. Chris, I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. The weather's good here. It's in the low 80s, partly cloudy. It's not too bad. That's good, Chris. Rico, keep it going, Red. Not many fellows alive. That's what I've been talking about lately with other people. They just said you might as well get it out there as long as you can because they're real stories. They're not some AI bull that's just generated because you can read it in Wikipedia or something like that. Yes, he was smaller stature, slim, dressed in a very nice suit and sports coat. Yeah, that's the way he normally dressed when he was alive. He had hair the way I'm sure he did when he died too. Even at his age. He was small. He was less than 5 feet, a little bit less. So like I said, I was told they buried him in a child's coffin. FBI agents told me that. And they did go, Mr. Hoffman, you were there. And I was told there were FBI agents there. They wanted to see who showed up. Tim Hunt, Red is the ghoul of the Chicago outfit. Not exactly. I don't have all the answers. I wish I did. He did have a full head of hair, yes. It's probably gray, but at the time that I knew him, it was gray, but it had a little bit of a blonde streak in it. Not much, just a little bit. But I'm sure by the time he passed away in 2003, it was probably all gray. I think he was over 90 at the time. Out of all my mobsters that I knew, what are we doing here? Out of all the mobsters that I knew, he was probably one that I liked at the time. I used to go to breakfast with him at the Oak Tree and things like that. But he, according to Rodgers, according to me, according to everybody that you talked to that knew him, he lived and breathed to dispose of, murder, kill Ray Ryan. He definitely wanted to kill Ray Ryan. Here's a first-hand account from Mr. Hoffman. Casket didn't look like a youth model, but it could have been. Okay. You probably weren't looking for that at the time, guy. I remember John Cass writing in the newspaper. He laid there in a casket like a gnome. He called him a gnome. Let's see. Chris, I'm in Jackson, Michigan, west of Ann Arbor. Well, I hope you're doing good up there, guy. Hope everything's well. Okay, guys, come on. Everybody give me a like. You know where the like button is? It's all the way to the left now. It's not over where it used to be. All the way to the left. Kirby W., did you ever have a fear of falling asleep? Did you ever feel threatened? Fear of falling asleep? No. Did I ever feel threatened? Not by him. This is the kind of guy who liked me so much. he got rid of my problems. If I had a problem, he'd go take care of it and get rid of it. There was one guy that I'll tell you a story about Marshall. There was one guy that he indirectly told me he wouldn't do business with me. And I knew he was connected. And so I went to Marshall and I said, "Do you know this guy?" He said, "No, why?" And I told him, I wanted to sell him some Rush. And he said, "No." And Marshall said, "Let me check." And 2 or 3 days later, he calls me up and says, "Pick me up. We're going for a ride." So we went for a ride. And when I picked him up, he said, "Do you have any of that stuff in the car?" I used to carry boxes of it, gross boxes. And I said, "Maybe a gross I have in the trunk." And he said, "Well, get some more." So I pulled over to the store and I got maybe 20 cases, 20 gross. There were 144 bottles in a case, a gross. And so I got maybe 20 of those. And we went on and we stopped at the Vic Theater and went inside. And there was a guy there. And also a guy that was there was Johnny Cattuso. And Johnny Cattuso looked at Marshall and he said, "How'd you find out that I had a piece of this guy?" And he didn't even answer him. He just said, "What you got to do is this. What you got to do is that." He never answered his question. He didn't figure it merited an answer. And that was it. He took 20 cases, which was a good sale for the day. Mickey Craig, so I'm about 2 inches shorter now due to the bad hip. I'm sorry, Mickey. Mr. Hoffman, okay, I just hit the like button. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. I need all the help I can get. All the help I can get. Yes, he was, Mr. Hoffman. Johnny was a Cook County deputy. I had met Johnny before that over at Inferno's on Wells Street. Nicky Stevens owned the place, and his real name was Stephenopoulos, but we called him Nicky Stevens. And he worked for Louis DeMooch. And Johnny came in, and he had a badge on his wallet, but he was carrying a pistol. He had a badge, and I served him a drink. I talked to him for a couple minutes. He was a deputy sheriff. And I wondered because his brother-in-law had a license in his name. And that's the way it went. The liquor licenses went in a wife, a brother-in-law, different people. And that's the way it was. Yes, he was a Cook County sheriff then. I think he was a civil process server for Elrod. What years was Elrod there? I can tell you when I saw him. I mean, I saw him in the mid-70s. I saw him before then. Dick Elrod was another story. Jim Magnifici. If I don't get rid of this winter belly, I'll be laying taller and standing up. Tim Hunt, how did I meet Anthony Spilaccio? I met Anthony, or I call him Tony, at American Bonding over on State Street, almost at 11th Street and State Street. He was there at the time. It was 1968, and he was with Milwaukee Phil. And that's what we called him. His real name was Phil Aldericio, but we called him Milwaukee Phil, or Phil. That's all. And he was there with Phil. He was there with Joey Lombardo. He was there with Irv Weiner. He was there with, there were a lot of people there. That was a bonding agency. It was called American Bonding. And they had a little cut through Mr. Pat's restaurant where you can go right across the street to, right across 11th Street to the police station. And they would bond people out like that. I mean, it was like, that's the way they did it. So that's how I met Tony. I think it was a few days later, a week later, I saw him at a restaurant. And when I did, he kind of waved me over and I went and sat at his booth. And we hit it off great. And Phil liked us. I mean, Phil liked him and he liked me. I was so like, I don't think anybody disliked me. If they did, I wouldn't be around. But what happened was, this is another thing that's very much misunderstood. Phil was a powerhouse and he became the street boss. He became the street boss. And at that time, before then, it was somewhere around 68, he assigned him to Sam D. Stefano. And Phil actually honed Tony Spilacio's skills on murdering or torturing or whatever. Phil was a big torturer. He was big into it. If you saw the movie Casino and the Vice, it wasn't Tony that actually, he held the guy. I mean, two people did. They held the guy. They beat him up first. They put him up there. And they were holding him. And Phil was the guy who popped his eye out. Not Tony. He was the guy that squeezed his head in the vice. And as Phil walked away after he got the name out of him from his torture, he turned around and he said, just cut his throat. And Tony did cut his throat. For all valid stories, he never confessed it to me, but he did. Tim, you have a lot of comments here. Jim Fishy, the owner of the local McDonald's, was the chief undersheriff for Elrod in 1976. Elrod came in to see McDonald's and he brought 2 bodyguards. I personally took their orders and served 2 of them. They ate a lot. I don't doubt it, Jim. After Elrod got out of prison, he went to Mexico. I don't know what it was for. I think it was for his it was for a might have been for the cancer, but he was writing a book. I don't think he ever finished the book, and he knew me, and he wanted to talk to me about it. I did talk to him about it, but his wife kept calling me, and I just got out of contact with him. Hey, John, how you doing? Kurt Anson said he hired the group Chicago at some club he owned. Did you ever see them there? That only club that he would have shown him at would have been That's Life on 95th Street. No, I didn't see him there, but it's very possible he did have him there. At that time, he had DJs stopping by. That was a swinging club. I liked it. That's Life on 95th and Ashland. Real swinging place. There's all kinds of rumors about it now, John, that are not really true. I don't know if he had the group Chicago there, but he had some big name groups come in. And I always wondered, how did he pay for them? And he told me he only gave him $500 to show. And I looked at these people and said, wow, they got a band. They have a horn section. They have a percussion section. Even Buddy Rich, when he had Buddy Rich playing for him, he said it was only going to be $500. That was the maximum he paid. And then I realized that he was connected enough where if they wanted to play Rush Street and then go out to Las Vegas, they had to play him. And that's how it went, John. But I don't remember seeing Chicago there. Not saying that they weren't there, because they could have been. Probably were if you heard it. If he said he did, he did. Kurt wouldn't lie to you about that. Because at that time, there were all kinds of programs and other things left up. So if Kurt told you that he hired the group Chicago, yes, he did. I never did see him there, though. Mr. Hoffman, I remember when Elrod lost the sheriff's election to O'Grady. Yeah. Elrod became a judge, and he said he could now practice his law for his love of the law. Yeah. O'Grady was something else. Temperoni, sorry I got carried away with no need to show them if you don't want to. I just can't do it. You hit 5 comments in a row in their comments. So some of these people have questions. Jim Nandifici, what did Dick Elrod go to prison for? I'm not really sure. He died in 2014. He became the sheriff in 1970. And he was a Democrat. He lost to a Republican, O'Grady. He was a judge. Oh, he got caught up in Greylord, guy. That's what he got caught up in. And Greylord. Dick Elrod definitely got caught up in Greylord. And that's the way it was. He told me he did. His wife told me he did. It was a short period of time. Yes, that's what happened. He got caught up in the Greylord judge scandal. And he always said he was innocent. When I talked to him, he was down in Mexico. Like I said, I think he had cancer. And whatever they might have had something down there that they didn't have in the States. But I had to go through all kinds of crazy phone systems to get to him. Yeah, he was something else. But I believe he's the guy that passed out the badge to Johnny Cattuso, because that was the years. And it was a bailiff. He was a deputy sheriff to be a bailiff. That was very common because you really didn't have to show up for work every day. It was kind of like a no-show job. But Johnny was a deputy sheriff. I saw his badge. I never saw him wearing a uniform. I never saw him with a badge on his chest. He carried it in his wallet. Actually, it was pinned to his wallet. When he pulled his wallet off, he was paying for something. The badge was there. So that's the way it was, folks. And I want to thank you all for stopping by. I hope every one of you, if you haven't done it now, hit that like button on the way out. If you haven't bought my book or didn't read my book, it's available on Kindle, and it's also available in an autographed edition at redweebit.com. As the flyer is telling you, as it goes across the screen, you see it going across. It says redwoodmet.com. You can order it autographed for the same price. You can get it on Amazon. And I encourage anybody that hasn't written a review to write a review on Amazon and just let me know. Thank you. I appreciate it. My broadcast. Thanks, Red. Thank you. Thank you for stopping by, guy. Appreciate it. Scott H. I visited a friend in 1968 in Palatine. We went to Old Town, and it was hopping back then. It was. In 68, it was loaded with hippies. It was very, and I got to it in like maybe 1970, I got there. I got there just before the Bijou took over Second City. It was 1347 North Wells Street was the Second City at that time. It was a theater. And Tushin took it over. And then it changed. The whole neighborhood changed. Nice neighborhood, though. I liked it. Chris, you're very welcome, Red. I always enjoy hearing and listening to your stories. Take care and God bless. Same to you, Chris. Thank you. Scott H., see you next time. Yes, sir. God bless all of you. Have a great week and enjoy yourselves. Red We Met, out.
The combination of the videotapes and We Met's testimony resulted in the conviction of 2 men on extortion charges. One of them was Frank Schweiz, known in syndicate circles as the German, a feared mob terrorist and a suspect in a number of gangland murders.
He was described to me by other outfit individuals as the most feared hitman. And as he said to me, my reputation precedes me, son.